everyone, my name is Charlotte Knight, and today I'm going to be breaking down the sponsorship between Paris Saint-Germain and Geek Vape. On a surface level, I do think this was a very bold sponsorship and innovative move to take. I think after looking at what really makes a sponsorship work, like shared values, targeted audience alignment, and even strategic innovation, I think it becomes clear that this specific sponsorship was not particularly aligned in all these characteristics. So really, I'm just going to explain why I think this is not a good fit. Looking at key sponsorship areas, I'm going to explain why I think this partnership was kind of a missed opportunity. What actually is sponsorship, and what does it actually mean? Especially in sport, it is not just about, making financial gain and even exposure. The importance lies in congruence and sponsorship fit. Considering if two partners complement each other's mission and their values and their audiences, do they make sense together? Are they coherent? How well a brand partnership aligns across all of these characteristics, and research does show that the stronger the alignment, the more effective the sponsorship tends to be, as this leads to things like, better audience recall, visibility, emotional connection, brand loyalty, and ultimately just mutual success for both businesses. This is what makes sponsorships like the PSG and Nike partnership so powerful, because they both share the same values of performance and sports, both driven by the same lifestyle-focused demographic, so the cohesion is seamlessly there. Geek Vape's lifestyle brand focuses a lot more on self-expression and leisure and marketing to primarily the youth, and they really don't have any athletic relevance at all or ties to sport whatsoever. So this was really where I was looking at issues of congruence, in the fact that their values and their lifestyles, even just as brands, completely differ. At PSG, you can see it's a very well-established football club. They have a huge reputation. They're very famous for their performance, their youth development, their professionalism, and their brand is really associated with values of athletic excellence and competition and winning and ambition and just all-around dominance in the sport field. Geek Vape, by contrast, is completely different. It focuses on the vaping industry, targeting lifestyles and interested in technology, convenience, personal expression, and there's obviously no link to sport. And this isn't really about whether a vape brand can advertise, it's whether this specific PSG partnership makes sense in context. Obviously, their priorities, identities, and values, nothing of the sorts match. In terms of activation, Geek Vape did a lot. They did a lot of co-branded products, they ran digital campaigns, they had lounges, VIP lounges for different guests, and they even had televised PSG-linked ads. And this really helped promote the visibility of both companies in this deal. Took a very visually polished standpoint where mostly it just focused on product exposure and image exposure. And I didn't think there was a lot of effort engaging PSG fans through meaningful experiences or emotional, maybe storytelling or linkages. There was not really much of that. There was an emphasis more on product engagement and exposure. Some areas, activation also ignored local advertising laws, such as in Germany, where vaping is restricted. In Germany, where vaping ads are very restricted, which shows that the activation strategy did not fully consider regional policies or audience sensitivities, which can also limit its credibility and harm perception of both brands. I think here they also missed a key consideration, which is that sponsorships are interpreted by our fans, so therefore it's very important to understand and know the restrictions, the values, the wants, the needs of said target audience. She has a really large international following with significant engagement from younger families, younger fans, all the above. And the lifestyle promoted by Geek Vape doesn't align with such values, with the values or motivations of this audience. Rather than enhancing the fan experience or building community, the partnership focuses a lot more on brand placement. So in this way, Geek Vape is using this partnership as a way to upgrade his brand and publicly actually admitted that it wanted to access PSG's influence to reach younger, trend-sensitive demographics, which is not particularly wrong in terms of sponsorship, because obviously each side has something they want to get out of it. But when your product is legally restricted, it's medically harmful and just all around culturally controversial, even contradictory, to the idea of sport and its stakeholders, it makes the sponsorship feel very exploitive and inauthentic. And with this backlash and lack of effort to truly understand both target audiences from both companies, values are going to clash. There's going to be emotional investment that may be replaced by skepticism and confusion and even potential backlash, which is another big thing that I thought was going to be an issue with the sponsorship. And these are very real risks that may be detrimental to PSG's reputation, which they have worked so hard to build. The brand now becomes a part of how the club is perceived. And there's also a matter of influence because PSG's players are global figures. So if fans, especially the younger fans that are heavily influenced by such idols, see products like Geek Vape featured alongside these athletes, it could lead to misinterpretations about lifestyle choices of such athletes or endorsements. It may unintentionally suggest that these athletes endorse such behaviors, even if that's not really true. And by taking this, it may normalize vaping among the youth and create many dangerous associations between elite performance and issues with vaping, like nicotine. Obviously, some might argue that this deal expands PSG's sponsorship portfolio, allowing them to access new industries, and or they may point out that there's a financial benefit to this partnership for both brands and allowing them to access global technology. But I think expanding sponsorship should still involve a lot of thoughtful, planned out selection, and financial value is very important. Obviously, it's a key factor in the sponsorship, but should never outweigh the potential long-term health and endurance of a brand. Obviously, vaping is legal in many regions. It doesn't mean that it should be compatible because this is especially true in sport, where health and performance are very, very core values. And obviously, the nature of vapes and their products should always be considered very carefully. So what is the big picture I'm trying to get at here? This is the first partnership of its kind. There's a reason for that. Other clubs recognize that fit matters and that once credibility is compromised, it's hard to win it back. But a partnership does not reflect the characteristics of those involved. There can be no sponsorship fit, which is detrimental to the sponsorship. There's a huge overlap of brand identity. There's a lack of consideration of values. There's a lack of structure. There's a lack of genuine, authentic connection, which alienate key stakeholders and consumers. Before, PSG should be very careful and make informed decisions and choices that support its identity rather than risk depreciating it, and should really try and meet their audience's expectations and make sure they understand their consumers, know their brand identity, and have some sort of brand integrity. Stick to your morals. Represent that through all sponsorship decisions made in the future. Thank you.